Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Miguel Devon, and in this video, I'm going to be telling you what I believe is causing us to be handicapped in progressing in life. One step that is causing us to be handicapped in progressing in life. If you feel like you have no vision, if you feel like you have no dreams, if you feel like you have no aspirations right now, this is the video for you that is going to teach you and show you that those things are deep down inside of you. And through this video, I'm going to teach you how we can pull it out. Okay, let's get started. Earlier today, me and my wife were talking. We were riding down the street and we were talking. This has been something that's brewing up in my life, something that I've been focused on in life, something, just a thought that's been on my mind for the last couple of weeks. But my wife brought up she had a great question. She said, I wonder if our parents, my parents, her parents, both of them are in their late, well, not probably mid to late 50s, early 60s, around that area. She said, I wonder if our parents have goals, if they have dreams, if they have a vision for their life, even this late in life, even though they're not old, but it's a later part of their life than it is for ours. She said, I wonder if they have dreams. I told her that I believe that everyone has dreams, that in order to live life properly, you must have a dream. I don't care if you're 102 or 102 days old, you must have a dream, right? So I began to explain to her, here's why. Here's why. And I actually just taught, you guys know I just started teaching high schoolers. I actually just taught my high schoolers about this in a different concept. But today I'm going to give you guys this exact same information. And I believe it's going to change your life. I believe that it is going to help you start to learn how to tap into those dreams and visions in your own life. I want to start by explaining Genesis. So I believe we see this in the beginning of the Bible, early in the Bible, right? And just bear with me here. Walk through the part with me here. But I believe that we see that God is a creative being. He's a creative being. So he creates time. And as he does, as he's creating things and doing things in the world, all it says in scripture is he created this and that. But it goes to this part where it says, so God created human beings. God created human beings, that meaning that you and I were created by him. All right. We're created by the greatest. Okay. Following that, it says in his own image. In his own image. So therefore, we see two counts of creation here. We got one, God creates time. Okay, from the beginning of time that he creates time, meaning that he's a creative being. Y'all tracking? Then what we have next is he created us in his own image. Image is from imagination. He has to imagine us to create us, meaning that he's a creative being through his image, through his imagination. And if he made us like him. We were made in the image of God, meaning that we were made like him, meaning that we are also creative beings. Now, I know it's so easy to sit here and be like, man, I just don't have creativity. I'm not a creative person. I'm just not that guy when it comes to creativity. My creativity lags. My creativity is a handicap for me. But listen, I believe because that's part of our identity, each and every last one of us are creative beings. We were created by the one who created creativity. So that means we are creative beings. So that being said, in order to create, we must have imagination. We see that right there, right? So we imagine, we create. Also, in order to remain creative, in order to remain imagining things, we have to have a vision in mind. The imagination is our vision in mind. So if we're going to live a life of creativity, activating in our purpose, living out what God created us to do, because that's part of who we are. So if that's part of who we are, we have to live that way, full of creativity. Everything around you, everything that you're using, the camera I'm recording on right now, the video, whatever device you're using to watch this video is a form of creativity. Somebody created that. So if we're creative beings, that means we must have an image in mind to be creative, meaning that there is a goal there to create. Our goal is to create what our image is. Whatever our image is, we have to create that in front of us. Therefore, if my goal is to create a better life for me and my family, I'm going to pursue that. If my desire is to create to obtain a vehicle, that's my creativity. How can I get there? What must I do to be able to get to that level of life, to be able to afford that vehicle? So we're full of creativity. Okay. Now, where this conversation shifted to, and based on our main conversation, and this may be where you are as a viewer, is contentment versus complacency. Contentment versus complacency. Obviously, you've lived life. You've lived life enough to get to where you are today. And a lot of people stop striving. I've been reading this book. Called The Magic of Thinking Big. And I just want to read this part to you guys, because I believe that we lose the power to dream. We lose the ability. I'm not going to say lose. I'm going to say we forfeit. Ooh, that's better. We forfeit the power to dream. We forfeit our ability to be creative, because we're built with it. We're born with creativity. So I believe we forfeit those things. Okay. But I want to read this really quick from this book. It says, as children, all of us set high goals. At a surprisingly young age, we made plans to conquer the unknown, to be leaders, to attain positions of high importance, to do exciting and stimulating things, to become wealthy and famous. In short, to be first, biggest, and best. In our blessed ignorance, we saw our way clear to accomplish these goals. But what happened, guys? What happened? Here's where I want you to be at, because there was a time where you guys had vision. There was a time where we had the ability to dream better. Okay. There was a time where we knew where we wanted to go, and we were like, man, one day I'm going to get there. But what happened long before we reached the age when we could begin to work toward our great objectives? A multitude of suppressive influences went to work. I'm reading The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz. Check this out. I agree with what he's saying, that as we're kids, and I see this in my own line of work through mentorship, I see kids that are seeing these obstacles in their way. And you know what I think happens? What I think the change is, what I think the change is we start believing what we see versus where we can go. We start believing what we see versus where we can go. Just bear with me here. If you start, and we see this, we see the fruit of this through our vocabulary. One thing I've learned is that especially working with teenagers, is that, and I tell them this, I am is the most important 2 words in the English language, and the most important 2 words of your life. Whatever you put on the back of that can change everything. It can change everything. I try to explain this to them every single day because I've learned it and I started to live it. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I am. So if we are created like the I am, bear with me, I'm about to get us to our point. If we are created like the I am, meaning that we are full of creativity, when we start changing our vocabulary and start speaking the obstacles we see, we start reversing, going in a negative way of what we were created to be. So instead of saying, man, I am a business owner, even though you're not there yet, but you can create the ability and find ways to get there, you start saying, man, I am broke. I am broke. I am broken. I am this and we are teaching ourselves that we are denying what the I am said about us when it comes to I am. So we have to be careful with how we're approaching, how we think. But let me get you to where we're trying to go here. What I believe is a lot of us started to believe those negative I ams, which has put us in a place of contentment. And what happens is, put us in a place of complacency. What happens is we start to believe these things, we start to see these obstacles of life, and that's too hard. And you believe that I am not good enough to achieve that. I am not strong enough to overcome the obstacle. Even though you may not verbally say it, you start to believe it. And as you start to believe it, your life starts to follow that as well, which places us into a place of complacency. So let's talk about the difference between complacency and contentment. This is an example I gave my students. I said, hey, if we're in a state of complacency, this is what complacency looks like, guys. If I take this job as a teacher and I come in every single day and I just go in, do what I need to do, go home, same thing next day, watch, rinse, and repeat. Go in, do what I need to do, go home, same thing every day. That is a life of complacency. That does not involve what we were created to do, of being confident, being confident, but being creative. Being creative. How can I grow today? Contentment. Contentment is where same situation, same scenario. I come in every single day, but I'm striving to be better. How can I be a better communicator? How can I be a better educator? How can I grow mentally today, but will prepare me to be in perfection for tomorrow for this position, to be where I'm at today? That requires creativity, and that puts us in a state, that puts us in an environment, puts us in a situation to dream again, puts us in an environment to strive more, puts us in an environment, sets our mind on vision, sets our mind on ways that we can pursue things in life because we're creative. It helps our mind start to think of different routes of how we can grow. This life is built to grow. We were built to grow because we have creativity. We have to achieve things. We have to grow in life. Creativity, the result of creativity is obtaining or growing. The result of creativity is growth. We have to grow. That's part of our life. That's part of our nature. That's part of who we are. So let's not get contentment mixed up with complacency. And I hope that this information helps you understand how you can get out of complacency, how you can start striving for more tomorrow and today than you did yesterday. My name is Miguel Devon. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Get to a place of where you are not complacent, but you start activating the creativity that God has given you to be able to drive in the right direction, to pursue more, to pursue greatness for your life, and start dreaming again. I love y'all. See y'all.